Welcome. This is 1136 Ministries podcast. I'm Lou Sloger. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope that and pray that you'll be encouraged by this little podcast, and you'll help us spread the word. We're on Facebook, we're on X, we're on YouTube. Please help us to let people know that if indeed you're encouraged by this ministry. Thank you for your prayers and support, and I trust again we'll just persevere and do as much good as we can until we see Jesus face to face. Last time we were together, we looked at Psalm 3, 4, 5, and 6 and kind of did an overview of what prayer should be about, how it should we should develop a certain perspective. We talked about being bold in our prayers and yet humble, that God can do anything. We're just not sure what he will do. So we can boldly ask him for anything and then humbly yield, not as I will, but your will be done. And we talked about the balance between praying for spiritual things compared to material things, to eternal things compared to temporal things. And we can certainly pray about anything all the time. But we should also prioritize what's really most important. Give us this day our daily bread, right? That's important. But how about make sure, oh God, I find grace to persevere to the end so as to be saved and awake with your likeness and in your presence. So pray about anything, pray about everything, pray all the time, pray without ceasing, Paul would say. But let's learn how to pray, that proper balance with that holy boldness, with real humility, and then confidently knowing God will hear and God will answer, and his will ultimately will be done in heaven and on earth. I want to look again at some of the truths in these Psalms here and bring us into a harsh reality and then learning how to pray in a way that is consistent with that reality. The fact of the matter is, David said, he prays and he pours out his heart. Oh, how my adversaries have increased. Many are saying bad things about me and saying there's no help for God in him and making accusations and all these different things. And you think, wow, what kind of life is that? Well, it's the life of a true believer. It's a life of men and women who want to do what's right. And Jesus himself said, listen, you're going to be salt and you're going to be light. You're going to have an impact and a testimony. And you need to come to grips with this. The world's going to hate you because it hated me. You need to come to grips with this. You're going to be persecuted for the sake of righteousness. Men will say all kinds of evil against you falsely. Well, what do we do? What we don't do is fight fire with fire. We don't, Jesus, when he was reviled not. When he suffered, he uttered no threats. We need to learn how to pray. We need to recognize that one of the main tools of the devil and his minions is the words. The wise man in Proverbs says, death and life are in the power of the tongue. In Proverbs 12, it says, rash words are like the thrust of a sword. We can do great harm to one another despite the words we use and the attitude that we demonstrate when we're speaking. As someone said, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. That's not true. Some of the most painful things we've ever experienced have been because of what people have said. Lies, slander, gossip, accusation, doing the devil's work for him. In Revelation 12, it's a glorious thing when it says the accuser of the brethren has been cast down. And sadly, he uses people, even believers sometimes, to do his dirty work for him and to beat people up, as it were, just with words, to get them to question or to get to doubt their own walk with God or the integrity of the scriptures. And so we need to learn how to pray, recognizing that, David said, many are saying things against him. Many are saying this, that, the other. There's one opinion that matters, and that's God's. If the whole world convened against us, but God is for us, we'll be okay. So learn how to pray with confidence in the one true God, that he will set the record straight. What we need to be doing is this: regardless of what people are saying, usually It's living a holy life and trying to do the right thing is what brings us into conflict with an unbelieving world and with the devil and his minions. And they try to undermine us. They try to discourage us. They make false accusations. And so we need to recognize that if living a holy life and trying to do the right thing brought me into this conflict, then I need to keep doing that. I can't quit and let them win. I need to seek to continually live a holy life. I need to seek to continually do the right thing. I want to be honoring to Christ and pleasing to God. And I learn how to pray that way. Give me strength, O Lord. Give me grace, O Lord. Guard my heart, my mind. Give me that peace that passes understanding. Help me entrust my soul to a faithful Creator in doing what is right. I pray because I'm recognizing what I'm really dealing with, right? If I break a leg, I'm not going to go take get a new pair of glasses. That's not going to fix the problem. And so I need to pray in accordance with what's really going on in my life. We have adversaries, we have trial, we have difficulty because we're the people of God trying to do the right thing. Well, then don't quit doing that. Keep on believing, keep on trusting, keep on obeying, keep doing the right thing with confidence. What everybody else says, thinks, or does doesn't really matter. Let me again try to give you this illustration about how public opinion and whether it's 1,000,000 people saying it or 10 doesn't really matter. You remember when Paul was shipwrecked and he's gathering some firewood, a snake comes and bites him on the hand, and everybody's looking and saying, "Oh, although he escaped from the sea, he got his due, right? Karma got him. He's going to die now." And he shakes off the snake, and they go, "Oh, he must be a god." So they go from thinking he's a murderer who's rightly condemned to now, oh, he's a god. And public opinion, it changes just like that. And we worry so much about what other people think. Be more worried about what God thinks, what God has said. Public opinion changes in a heartbeat, and it doesn't really matter. Come Judgment Day, right? Come Judgment Day, one opinion will matter. So between now and then, live like you believe only one opinion matters, and learn how to pray that way. Pray that you are wise, shrewd as a serpent, innocent as a dove. Pray that God gives you grace and wisdom and understanding. Pray that you don't use your mouth in a way that the devil and his minions do. That we want to speak the truth in love. We want to speak kindly and with compassion and with integrity. We want to, first of all, speak truth to our own hearts. And then we want to be able to find people and encourage them along the way. So learning how to pray when you're up against adversaries in a sin-fallen world is of utmost importance. I'm going to pray and learn how to trust God no matter what I'm called, no matter what I'm accused of, no matter what the multitudes think. One opinion matters, right? So I pray to God. Then I need to learn how to talk to myself and take thoughts captive, tell myself the truth, being honest. Nobody I know is walking on water. So there's sin that we've got to deal with. But usually when we have adversaries, what they accuse us of isn't true the way they're trying to use it against us. Here's a simple, for instance, right? You're not loving enough. Well, that's true. I'm not, right? You're too prideful. Let's see, that's true too. I am. But it's not usually what they mean by that. They're trying to use it as a stick to beat us with. They're not concerned for our souls. They're not trying to help us work out our salvation. They're just trying to accuse us and beat us down. And we need to be able to recognize, yep, I'm not loving enough. And yep, I've got too much pride. But I'm not what they're accusing me of. And you need to be able to tell yourself the truth. You need to pray for the grace that you'll need to be led by the Holy Spirit and take those thoughts captive. And then I think you need to do this. You need to pray to God, right? You need to talk to yourself and listen to what Malachi 3 says. I think this is also pretty important. Malachi 3, verse 16, says this about what we should try to be cultivating. First of all, with God, then with ourselves. Listen to this. Then those who feared the Lord spoke to one another, and the Lord gave attention and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for those who fear the Lord and esteem his name. We need to make sure that we find good, godly companions. I forget who had said it. It was an old Puritan. But the fact of the matter is, because of who we are and what we are and our limitations emotionally and all that, you will never really have what I would consider more than one or two really, really good friends at a time. Because there's time and energy that needs to be invested. And the fact of the matter is, we just can't be everybody's friend. It's kind of comical when you go on Facebook or whatever and you can see somebody's got, 2,000 friends. No, they don't. I spent quite a few years in the Dominican Republic and Colombia and in Latin America countries. And so you meet people and you become friends on Facebook. And I had to caught myself one day recognizing, half my friends on Facebook I can't even have a conversation with because I don't speak Spanish. So it's almost comical. We need to tell ourselves, I need to take the time to find a couple of really good friends who know what we're talking about here and who can speak to one another and have iron sharpen iron. And he who walks with the wise will be wise, and the companion of fools comes to ruin. So you need to make sure that you're learning how to pray about what's really going on, learning how to talk to yourself about what's really going on. You need to find trusty companions who can encourage you and strengthen you with what's really going on. And we live in a sin-fallen world, and we have many adversaries. 1 Corinthians 16:9, Paul says, there's a wide door for effective service been opened up to me. Yet, he says, there are many adversaries. All right, so then let me read you how these 4 Psalms end and leave you with hopefully a real note of encouragement. In spite of many adversaries yapping and talking and all that nonsense, listen to how the psalmist ends these things. Psalm 3, 7, and 8 says this: Arise, O Lord, and save me, O my God. For you have smitten all my enemies on the cheek. Notice where they got hit, right by the mouth, right? You have shattered the teeth of the wicked. Salvation belongs to the Lord. Your blessing be upon your people. Psalm 4 ends this way: In peace I will both lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me to dwell in safety. Psalm 5 ends this way: But let all who take refuge in you be glad. Let them ever sing for joy. And may you shelter them, that those who love your name may exalt in you. For it is you who blesses the righteous man, O Lord. You surround him with favor as with a shield. So when you read that verse right there, you know that, hey, God's going to surround his people. God's going to bless his people. God's going to encourage his people. Well, what does public opinion matter then? And this is how Psalm 6 ends. Depart from me, all ye who do iniquity. For the Lord has heard the voice of my weeping. The Lord has heard my supplication. The Lord receives my prayer. Why should I care what anybody else thinks? All my enemies will be ashamed and greatly dismayed. They shall turn back. They will suddenly be ashamed. We'll let the Lord fight our fights for us. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. He'll repay. You don't have to worry about defending yourself. You don't have to worry about, there are times when you're defending the truth and you need to set the record straight, but not worrying about public opinion or what somebody else might think about you at any given point in time. You'll waste a lot of time and energy trying to answer all the accusations that'll come your way in this sin-fallen world if you're a true follower of Christ and you're trying to do the right thing. So let's follow the example of David. Recognize what we're up against. Many will say, blah, 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 right? One opinion matters, and God has heard my prayer. God will answer. God will set the record straight. God is never going to leave us nor forsake us. If God is for us, it doesn't matter who's against us. We are more than conquerors through him who loved us. So let's tell ourselves those things. And let's find one or two good friends that we can encourage along the way and talk about these things along the way and be strengthened to do what's right no matter what, and to be much, much more concerned with what God has said and with what God thinks than anybody else. All right? Again, thanks again for stopping by and being with us. I really kind of keep praying that you guys are encouraged by this. You find these practical and helpful. And if you do, spread the word. Help people find us on YouTube and Facebook and X. And again, just thank you for your prayers and support. And God bless you all.